soon as we'd cleared customs, we piled our luggage and ourselves into Derek's car and then set off through Athens to our hotel. Everyone seemed to be talking at once. The girls had lots to tell each other, and Derek, as usual, was full of plans. Soon we were whisking through the busy streets of the city, craning our necks for a first look at this exciting country, and were rewarded with a brief glimpse of the Acropolis. Frustrating to go racing past it, but then, as Jane said, it had waited more than 25 centuries already. It would wait a few days longer. We'd been abroad with the Taylors before and knew that they were experienced travelers. Derek could find a soft bed and a good meal wherever he went, so we'd asked him to book us in at his hotel. He'd found a lovely spot down by the shore. Here, in a setting of trees and flowers, we had a little chalet all to ourselves, right on the edge of the Aegean. The warm sea air, heavy with the scent of the flowers, was just what we needed after leaving cloudy London only a few hours before. Next morning, after breakfast, I took delivery of our hire car. This was a Consul Classic like Derek's, except that Jane and I had the two-door version. And of course, ours was the export model, with a left-hand drive for us to get used to.
Next morning, as the village baker delivered her loaves in the traditional manner, we had our breakfast on the sunny terrace of the hotel and wrote a few promise postcards home. Ken was down below, wiping down his car, while Derek had finished his breakfast and was working out our routes for the next part of the journey.
Greece is a dusty country, and quite a lot of that dust seemed to have found its way onto our Classic. I was just giving it a friendly wipe down when Derek strolled across and asked me what I thought of the car. I was pleased with it. It looked good, it was easy to handle, and on the long stretches it had been very comfortable to drive. Then we compared my two-door model with Derek's four-door. There was little to choose between them. The door pillar on his four-door Classic was moved further forward to give direct access to the rear passengers. But with both cars, the wide opening doors made getting in and out an easy and comfortable business.
It was all very fine for the boys to carry on about how wonderful their cars were, but we hadn't come all the way to Greece just for that. And Jane and I were keen to get on with the sightseeing, especially as we'd been reading up the guidebook and had found that Olympia was only at the foot of the hill. So for today's excursion, we all got into our car, tucked away the bits and pieces, and set off for the ruins. Olympia is a sight quite unlike any other in Greece. Calm and tranquil, almost park-like. You feel that here peace has reigned undisturbed since time began. Here we found the entrance to the stadium where the Olympic Games were once held. Here they still light the Olympic flame, carried by relays of runners across the world to the modern games. And here we relaxed before starting on the next part of our journey.
Then it was time for us to leave Olympia and be on our way eastwards. We stowed our bags and baggage in the Classic's huge boot, with its vast luggage space and the spare wheel tucked neatly out of the way, and were soon packed and ready to start our journey towards the mountains of the Peloponnese. The narrow, twisting road climbed steeply into a mountainous landscape, but we sailed smoothly uphill, our Classic doing everything asked of it. And on this long, winding stretch, I came to appreciate the way the engine, coupled with the 4-speed gearbox, coped with the demands put upon it. The mountain dropped steeply away from the side of the tarmac. With an unfenced road, Jane got a bit frightened of slipping over the edge. But I could feel the car clawing the surface, and was confident of the firm, positive steering. Ahead of us was Lagadière, a little farming community and the last village before our long stretch through the central plateau. In this area, the people lead a gentle life. The young men work in the hills, the children tend the sheep, and in the traditional Greek manner, the oldest inhabitants sit in the sun drinking coffee and talking politics. We stopped in the main square to have a look round and give the cars a well-earned rest after their scorching climb. The houses seemed to be built into the mountainside, and the square was supported on stilts over the steep face. From it, we saw the local school rehearsing a dance. But as usual, it wasn't long before the girls were pestering for spending money. They seemed to have an uncanny instinct for finding things to buy. While they went off souvenir hunting, we preferred to sit back and relax in the sunshine with a cup of thick black Turkish coffee. Suddenly, there was a lot of shouting coming from somewhere. The girls had found another form of transport, slower than the Classic, and not, I fancy, quite such a smooth ride. We pulled away from fertile Lagadière and started to cross the desolate and abandoned landscape of the central Peloponnese.
was close. Thank goodness for the disc brakes on the front wheels. He doesn't seem worried, though. I only hope his luck holds out. That evening, we came to the old Venetian trading port of Nafplion, where we'd planned to spend a few days to freshen up after our long drive through the mountains. Staying at the hotel, we met a young Greek couple who were also on holiday. Aleko, the young man, was another motoring enthusiast, and Derek and he were soon talking cars. He said he'd like to have a look at ours, so Derek offered to show them to him.
The Classic was something to be proud of. It looked every inch the car for a serious motorist. It had clean, simple lines, twin headlights, which gave double the area of light for high-speed night driving, and a rake-backed window, which increased the headroom and gave full rear visibility. From every angle it looked and was an exciting car to drive. The two-tone was identical in style, and both models had disc brakes on the front wheels, but it was equipped with a steering column gear change, and for the continental roads, a left-hand drive. Later on that afternoon, it was going off for service, and so when our new friend suggested a visit to a country market a few miles away, Derek offered to drive them there in the white car. They were impressed with the comfortable interior, and the high headroom and generous legroom made plenty of space for everybody.
Riding 5 up can be stuffy in hot weather, but not in the Classic, as our Greek friends found out. The air conditioning system directs jets of warm or cool air to wherever it's needed and keeps the interior fresh when it's hot outside and cozy when it's cold. Argos has been the most continually occupied spot in all Greece, and people come here today to buy and sell as they have done for 5,000 years. We had a lovely time as Aleko led us away from the market around the funny little shops in the back streets, where they sold everything from chicken wire to horse necklaces. The sun was beating down on us by now. I think it might have gone to our heads. That afternoon, we all went picnicking on Tolo Beach. Derek, as usual, enjoying his food. We spent a lazy day, basking in the sunshine and working up a golden tan to take home as a souvenir of Greece. Next day, it was Ken's turn to take us out, and for his excursion, he'd chosen to go to Mycenae. Seen of the goriest of the Greek legends and immortalized by Homer in his Iliad, Mycenae was the citadel of Agamemnon, most powerful of the Greek rulers, who set out from there for the Trojan Wars in the 12th century BC. We passed beneath the headless lions that guard this somber site, with its record of intrigue and murder, where even the wild flowers grow blood red. That evening, after a pleasant supper, we relaxed on the seafront and wrote our last postcards home from Nafplion. For early next morning, we were leaving for Athens and the last lap of our holiday. But we left the most important of all our sightseeing excursions to the end, our visit to the Acropolis. Through the entrance of the Propylaea, we emerged onto the flattened summit, scattered with ruins of what was once the heart of Greek civilization. Here was the Erechtheion, with its famous caryatids serenely carrying 2.5 tons of marble roof on their heads, and looking with sightless eyes at the magnificent view of the ageless city at their feet, and of the hills which surround Athens. Finally, of course, there was the Parthenon itself, the temple of the goddess Athena who gave her name to the city. Here, if anywhere among the places we had seen on our tour, was typified the glory that was Greece. After the Acropolis, almost anything would have seemed an anticlimax. But to watch the sun go down from Sunion, perched on the southernmost tip of Attica, made the only fitting end to our day.